Hi, this is Reginald D. Hunter, and welcome to the Sarah O'Connell Show.
Welcome to the Sarah O'Connell Show.
Reginald D. Hunter, welcome to the Sarah O'Connell Show. How are you today?
Sarah O'Connell, I'm doing very well, thank you. How about yourself?
Very good, thank you very much for asking.
You're very agreeable so far.
I agree. So you grew up in Georgia and you wanted to be an actor, and when you were 27, if I understand, you came over to the UK to study acting.
Yes, that's true.
Fantastic.
And then I wanted to be an actor in order to save lives. And it took the British and the fine acting schools to show me that acting doesn't really do that in a direct sense. Yeah. So I turned to stand-up then, and here I am.
Was it kind of, it was a dare to start with, is that correct?
Yeah, it was, I guess that's the way to put it. It seems to be, I was in a pub in Bearwood in Birmingham, and just sitting there, and I was drunk. I wasn't drunk, I was tipsy. I was on my way to being drunk, though. That was my destination.
Having a nice day?
Yeah, well, no, I was having a terrible day, actually.
Oh.
And I was kind of like just bitching, but kind of like to the wind in the bar. And there was about 10 people in this big old bar, and people were laughing and somebody nudged me and he says, "Hey, you should do that." And I looked in the sign and said, "Comedy every Tuesday." And I said, yeah, maybe. And then I thought, maybe. And so, yeah, that was roughly the beginning.
That's fantastic. So do you think there could be a scenario where people could just suggest any other job and it might happen if you're tipsy enough in a bar?
Well, I'll be crowning 50 soon, sugar.
Next month?
Yeah, I'm pretty much the motherfucker I'm gonna be.
That's fantastic. Happy birthday for next month, by the way.
Thank you, man. Most kind.
Very welcome. Card is probably in the post. I don't know where it's going, but there's one in the post.
Okay, all right then.
So you've been doing comedy for some time now. What would you say are your highlights of being on stage? Are there any particular shows that stand out to you?
Yes. Actually, at this stage in my career, I conservatively estimate I've done somewhere around about 5,500 gigs lifetime. I don't remember any of the good ones that well, but I remember every moment of every awful one, of which I had about 8. I remember what I had for breakfast that morning. I remember who called me just before I went on stage. I remember that the way Americans remember the day they was when Kennedy was assassinated. So all my good gigs, all my great gigs, they're just one long happy blur.
That's amazing.
And I like to keep it that way because, I hope I got a lot more jokes to tell. And so, you don't want to sit around, reminiscing over the jokes you used to tell that used to be good. You do that when it's over, when you're sitting at home in retirement, you don't bought your little piece of land and, and when your lady making you a sandwich or whatever, you're just sitting there on the porch and you just like, yeah, I told that joke about the conservatives. That was pretty good. Yeah. But it ain't time to do that yet.
Absolutely. Looking forward to lots of big plans. Very exciting. Now, I watched an old episode of Live at the Apollo that you were on, I think it's back in 2009, and you commented at the time that the BBC had kind of suggested there was a lot of things they'd prefer you not to say on the show, I guess because of the time it goes out and stuff like that. Would you say that they, or just TV in general, has relaxed a bit in regards to censorship, or is it still kind of the same?
Well, internet and Netflix is whooping networks' ass. So networks trying to at least make the appearance of being more edgy and more daring. Yeah. So you can get away with the little stuff, but, there's still like little nitpicky areas. Like if you ain't used to doing morning breakfast TV and you slip and say the word bloody, in this country, that's a problem. Now other places, not so much a problem. Yeah. Or, I'm old school, so I might, if I'm on a TV show, I might slip and jokingly call somebody retarded. Just vaguely a compliment where I come from. But if there's actually genuine retarded people in the room, then it's supposed to be offensive and disrespectful to them, So, and plus, we live in a time where if you speak publicly in any fashion, there are people who feel like if they don't like what you say, they can get together with other people and make sure that you never work again. Yeah. and that's new. So, yeah, it's an interesting little dance we have to do.
Absolutely. So I suppose sort of in the past that there was more of a disconnect with the audience, whereas now you get immediate sort of feedback, don't you, when you've done stuff?
Yeah, and just And sometimes when I get complaints about my work, sometimes it's from a segment of people, and it's like they speaking to you purely as a consumer. Yeah. Like, well, I want a refund on my experience. I thought you were going to be all quiet and droll like you are on TV. And I said, and you would pay to see that for a fucking hour? Yeah. Excuse me.
It's okay, we can say hour on the show. You were on Would I Lie to You as well, and do they give you much warning in advance because you told a lie? They said your middle name was Delicious. Do they give you any warning in advance of that when you sort of look at the card, or do you have some time to sort of think about it in advance?
No. I don't remember much preparation time given for any of us when we arrived at the studio. Yeah. And I think that show sort of thrives off of you not having any anticipation of what's going to happen, if my memory is correct. So yeah, it was just, and it's funny, people ask me about Delicious, and it was just the first thing that came to my mind. Yeah.
That's amazing. Now, I really enjoyed your series, Songs of the South, where you travelled from North Carolina to New Orleans. Would you say that you've been in the UK quite a while now? Would you say the area's changed quite a bit, like when you go back now?
Well, yes, I would say that the UK has changed a good deal. Yeah. When I went over to do the series, I was gone for like 6 weeks. And when I got back, the UK had the winds of breaking some kind of economic shackle, maybe somehow breaking away from Europe or something. That's the change I sense. The South, on the other hand, yeah, there's been some changes in the South, but I don't know, but it seemed like it. There's changes in the South, and the BBC researched it well, and they took me places, and we went places that, were musically good, and they were not reputed to kill niggas. And I am a big fan of BBC researchers. Although, they did get a bit wayward a couple of times, like, oh, Reg, it'll be fine. Yeah. We're the BBC, we research things, it'll be fine. And 1 or 2 times, it wasn't. But fortunately, no bullets was involved, as, I instructed the people I was with, white British professional folk, sure, how to haul ass. Right. So, yeah.
Fantastic. And then last night we were treated to on BBC Two, Songs of the Border.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
And so that was incredible. So you travelled, was it 2,000 miles along basically coast to coast, yeah, from east to west, or the other way?
No.
One of the ways.
If you're talking about the second one, it was from Austin, Texas to San Diego, California. Yeah. So it was like this half of the United States as opposed to, yeah.
Sure. But it's fascinating because you sort of hear about all the divides and things, but it's kind of like a melting pot, isn't it? Like all the music flows from Mexico to America, and they're inspired by each other, and all that.
It's some flowing music, and that's what they call, in a sense, Tex-Mex, which is a sort of a slang way of saying. But it's in the food and in the music, and it's like even the white folks along the border that don't want Mexicans coming over, the ones that want Mexicans to leave, they still want the Mexicans to leave their food and their music when they go. Yeah,
that's it. And I love the show too because it introduced me to loads of musicians that I didn't know about, or I hadn't heard, and like some I was sort of loosely familiar with, and even stuff like the song La Bamba plays over one part of it, and just because I heard the song again, decided to Google it. I just thought it'd come out in like the mid 1980s, but it was recorded in like 1909, and there was like a version in the like 1920s or 30s, and it's like a really sort of classic song, and I love sort of discovering all that kind of thing, and the show is a great anchor point for that.
Yes.
That wasn't a question, that was just...
I thoroughly agree.
It didn't fit into a tweet, so I just set an interview up. So have you got any tips for anybody that wants to get into comedy?
Well, as I've said this before, just the first rule of comedy is to remember one simple thing. Check your ego at the door. You are there to be laughed at.
Absolutely.
And then, I would say more, but, I don't want to, though.
That makes sense. It'll take longer. Fair enough. So your new tour, Facing the Beast, very exciting, over 40 dates, I believe. What can you tell us?
That show is going to be all the new jokes that I've been writing since the last show. I'm going to air them out in Glasgow. And then Daddy going to pick the one he loved the best. Go on, sit on down, Jimmy. You ain't ready to play with Daddy this time. You get the next show, Jimmy. Come on over here. So I'm gonna look at my jokes in Glasgow, and then I'm gonna go and I'm gonna marinate over those and try to compose those into a structure. Meanwhile, I'm rehabbing my leg after breaking it. So I will be simultaneously making myself unfat. So we will be seeing. I mean, it's I'm looking at now is just an intense refit time, just mentally and everything, just back to basics.
Absolutely. Well, very best of luck with everything, with the rehab of your leg, and I'm very much looking forward to watching the show as well. And I recommend everyone get tickets for it.
Ma'am, I sure appreciate that. And I mean, I'm not just saying that because I want to be agreeable to her, but I think you should get tickets as well.
Absolutely. Now, you did some acting in the past as well. You in things like Tales from the Crypt as a truck driver, and you've appeared in Man Down and stuff like that. Would you like to do, of course you trained as an actor, would you like to do some more of that in the future too?
Yes, I have to do some more acting to make up for the things you just mentioned. To show people I can have some range and stuff. Yeah, I look forward to doing some acting. There's talk in TV circles about doing some stuff, but until somebody signs something, it's just talk. And
what can you tell us about what else you've got planned this year? Are you just focusing on the tour for the moment? Have you got anything else planned, TV appearances, anything like that?
Yes.
Fantastic. Well, I will look out for you on the Sky Planet and see where you turn up.
I don't like to describe myself as superstitious.
Yeah.
But it's just been the pattern of my life that when things are on the verge of happening and I talk about them, they don't. So I'll talk to you about it after. You catch me later in the year and I'll say, yeah, this and that. But I just got a lot of possibles at the minute.
That's exciting, because it means we have a lot more to talk about next time when you come on the Sarah O'Connell Show.
I'll come back when the month is new, and I'll have more talk for you.
It's very exciting.
I got that from Mr. Rogers. Yeah, I love that, man.
Finally, have you got any messages for people watching the Sarah O'Connell Show and your fans around the world?
Mr. Rogers was the best white man ever. Sarah O'Connell, she's fantastic. She's easy company, like easy to talk to and everything. And she don't try to like mess over you to make herself look good and nothing like that. And she's clearly can take a joke and everything. Yeah, keep watching her show. And
Reginald D. Hunter, thank you very much for coming on the Sarah O'Connell Show, and thank you for everyone at home for watching. Be sure to share, subscribe, give this video a big thumbs up, and I'll see you all again soon for another episode of the Sarah O'Connell Show. Bye.
Bye.